I haven't done a video in this format in a very, very long time because usually I'm not home alone, but I am right now. And I'm folding laundry and I'm cleaning and I'm organizing the kitchen and I'm getting things, I'm getting some other things started up. I'm going to ferment some garlic in honey. I'm going to pickle some okra. I have tons of cucumbers. I'll probably pickle those too. So I'm just busy, but I have some things on my mind that I'm just thinking I have got to say to you all. I'm not shocked at all. I just so disagree. I think the passion comes from how strongly I disagree with all the terrible advice that is online right now. I'm sure it's always been this way. I'm just older and notice it. And I think of my children and just the bad advice that I don't want them to hear, and trying to prepare them with discernment and wisdom and how to think, so that when they're bombarded with the current lies and the other lies that will come inevitably, that they would be able to discern what poor advice it is, and even why it's poor advice. Not just that it's poor advice, but why. Why is this bad advice? What is the actual replacement to this wrong thinking? And so I feel like I spot this stuff all the time, but when you're shaping young minds, it's not as easy, and you've got inevitable voices that will be speaking into their lives later that I'm not worried about, but I just want to equip them, So some of the main stuff that's really just terrible that I see is conflict and communication advice. There's so much of this strange game that people play with others that honestly, I guess if you're dealing with someone in the street that you're never going to talk to again, maybe you could apply it there. But when it's with family and friends and people you work with and people you care about and people that you hope to share the gospel with, not just with articulating the gospel, but living a life of joy and hope and love, manifesting the fruit of the Spirit that would maybe attract them to you and maybe bring them to ask you, what is this hope that is within you? And then you are able to give an answer, and with no shame, because you have conducted yourself in a manner worthy of being called a follower of Christ. Loving, kind, gracious, long-suffering, manifesting the fruit of the Spirit, not just in your home, but in your workplace as well. So a lot of this advice that I hear is to people, I don't know if it's directed to spouses, because if it is like, you want to make sure you don't have emotional intimacy with your spouse, follow these horrifying guidelines on how to interact during conflict. It is awful. And then, of course, for your children, it would be abusive. And for coworkers, you're just like going to be the impenetrable wall that has no softness to them, and you're not going to be able to share the Lord if you follow these guidelines or these tips, this advice that to me sounds more like a game than anything. So some of the things are just, silence, being quiet, which obviously there's wisdom in that. Even the Proverbs talks about that. But the way that they advise this quietness is almost like it's very cold. So if someone insults you, don't say anything back. Just sit back and let them, sit there with no response from you. I agree. Don't respond, but the heart behind it shouldn't be a cold little game that you're playing. If anything, don't respond right away. And then later in wisdom and kindness, approach the person, even if they're not your family, and say, hey, when you said that, I understand you were upset. I really hate that we had that conflict. Is there anything we could do now to move forward? Not, being at odds. Seek peace. Seek reconciliation. Seek to be the bigger person. That's the bigger person, the humble one, not the proud, cold, haughty one saying, I'm just going to sit here quiet and watch you make a fool of yourself. That's not love, but that's the advice being given. And I wish I can think of more examples with the communication stuff. I did hear something like, of course, choose your battles. There's wisdom in that. But as you choose your battles, make sure that if you don't choose a battle, that you don't have a cold, unkind heart behind it. There's nothing wrong with saying in love, listen, I can see this is important to you and I care how you feel, but I don't think it's good for our relationship to go any further, at least not right now, because it feels like we're going to argue and upset each other if we proceed. So maybe we could take a break and come back, or if you truly want to hear my perspective, or something different, like get out of it completely. Like, I just don't think it's important enough for us to argue about this because it doesn't matter to me that much. I respect your perspective, but I just love you and I don't want to fight. Love, it's such a different heart and mindset behind it. But the way it's being advised is definitely cold-hearted and unkind and unloving. So it's like a game, and it's terrible advice for anyone you love, that's for sure. But even if you don't know the person or love them necessarily, like emotionally love them, we're called to love everyone, and that is action. And that is not kind or loving action. So I urge you to not fall into this trap of really unloving communication, which I fear the church has already gobbling a lot of it up. And it doesn't surprise me because unfortunately, the church a lot of times is still drinking milk. They're not growing in wisdom through the reading of the scriptures and applying what they learn with the Lord to their everyday life with all people, not just their fellow brothers and sisters in the Lord, which even that can get hideous really fast. I know it's hideous. I like saying hideous because I think it's funny because I play with words like that. And then some people think that I really think that's how the word is. And I'm like, no, I'm just playing. But you have to know me to know that. So I'll explain that to you. So that's one lie I see circulating. Another lie, and just like poison thinking that I see circulating, is the victim mother. It is so sad. Young mothers are being fed these awful, wrong perspectives that omit the husbands and also are so focused on the negative that it's just feeding them this victimized mentality. Motherhood's hard, you guys. Did you not realize that it was going to be physically and mentally challenging to keep another human being alive? And not just that, not just keep them alive, provide all of their emotional, physical needs. You have to feed them at all hours. You have to clean them whenever they're dirty. You have to comfort them whenever they're crying because they're your child. If you look at it as a burden and you look at it as this is so hard, poor me, then your motherhood years are going to be miserable. If you look at it as a privilege and delight in your beautiful child that you get to hold and care for and nurture and raise and then watch grow and become your friend. It's such a different perspective. But instead, what we see online is these moms' illustrations, not actual pictures, laying on the floor in the kitchen, curled up in the corner like a fetal position, with a toddler and a spoon with chocolate on it, and the kitchen sink filled with dirty dishes, and it's just so hard. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Why are we feeding women this? And then, yeah, they may have had a hard moment, so they take that illustration and that long article just going on and on and on about being a victim and how hard it is to be a mother, and they let it just swirl in their minds and hearts, and they create this misery for themselves. Snap out of it, mothers. Snap out of it. That is poison. Get off the computer and go be with your child. Take them outside. Show them the beautiful things of nature. Go on little walks with them. Have little picnics with them. Read a book with them. Take a nap with them. Play with them. Laugh with them. Talk to them. Teach them all day long. Teach them. They will learn so much. Let them eat with their spoon, even if it's messy. And then, yeah, you got to clean up because that's life. Did anyone ever tell this next generation, hey, that's life? It feels like they haven't. It feels like there's so much drudgery to just normal life, and so much they think it's the hardest thing in the world to just do normal life. It's normal. So the abnormal is what needs to change, and that's the ridiculous mindset of thinking, I don't know what. I don't know what else you could possibly expect. This is life. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Do the best you can for this other person. Raise them. Delight in them. And I don't know what the answer is except a mental shift. But even like the other day, I was so sad to see this mama at a baseball game with her little boy. He was so beautiful. He had his bat and he was like imitating all the players, and he was imitating the catcher, and he just kept talking to her. But she was on her phone and decked out from head to toe, which is fine. I love clothes and fashion. That's not the issue. The issue is what is going on in the heart and head of this young mother, that she is 100% uninterested in her little beautiful boy talking to her, Mama, this is the bat. Mama, look. Mama, 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 mama. And she won't even look at him. She wouldn't even look at him. And I was like, I need to talk to this child who's being totally ignored and neglected. This is where a child feels loved, accepted, nurtured, and they grow in their intelligence and communication skills and interactive skills. They're developing, and you just ignoring him with your cute Nikes and your cute socks and your awesome tennis skirt and a really nice fashionable shirt and your hair clip that was like gold and jeweled and all your beautiful makeup and jewelry. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, I'm too busy for you. Looking at her phone, and her little baby needs her, wants her, and she definitely didn't want him. She would just give one-word answers. So after about an hour and a half of him running here and there and talking to her and her ignoring him, I talked to him. I was like, oh, I see. Whoa. Can you show me more? And he's like, and he ran to the little grass area, and he's like, look. And I'm like, I'm watching, buddy. Show me. And I'm engaging with this child who is desperately longing for his mama's attention. And he showed me a few swings with a branch from a tree, which is adorable and so innocent and beautiful and sweet, and needs his mama, needs her, but she's too busy. And this is normal. I see this all the time. And then just one more thing of this particular day, she got up, she's walking to go see her husband in the dugout. Hector was playing. It was a wood baseball bat charity game. He played 2 games and did a home run derby. So we were there and she's walking to go see her husband. And I mean, if I had a 1.5-year-old with me at the ballpark and we're going to go see daddy in the dugout, I would be like, hey, you want to go see daddy? Let's go see him. Let's go talk to him in the dugout and hold his hand or carry him and walk over there. But instead she's like, come on, let's go see dad. And she starts walking and her kid's behind her somewhere. I hope you're keeping up, buddy. You're like almost 2. Hope you figured it out. I was dying inside. I'm like, can you hold his little hand? Can you look back and make sure he's with you? Can you take your child with you to go see his daddy and celebrate this little moment that it will mean the world to him? But she's somewhere else. This is what young mothers look like today, and it breaks my heart. The lack of engagement, the lack of nurturing, the lack of needed attention. And I can only imagine at home. I can only imagine. And grocery stores, everybody's got some sort of iPhone or pad with their kid in the grocery cart. I mean, if I see a mama that doesn't, I say something to her, because it's like, you're doing the right thing. Keep doing what you're doing. You're never going to regret this. Talk to your child. Do not put a screen in his face to keep him occupied while you grocery shop. Involve him in your life. This is your baby. Why is this happening? People are just falling for the traps left and right like clueless puppets. It's so hard to watch. So, victim mamas, I really think that little phone of yours is ruining your life from the inside out more than you could possibly imagine. The lies it's feeding you, the time it's stealing from you and your child, the junk you're believing and trying to live out is robbing your life, let alone your joy, your life. And then the other or another lie that I feel is a lot of lies, because it's messy and it's complicated and people have been through some horrible junk in relationships and marriage. Horrible. But again, it all starts with some sort of lie that we believe and let grow and get out of control, never address, never pluck out, never deal with. And that can happen to any person, and it can destroy any marriage if left unchecked. And so I don't know what the starting point is for people. Obviously, there's hard marriages across the board, in and out of the church. The percentage of divorce is through the roof. It's wild. Now there's these horrible things happening that women will divorce and then take everything, and they just turn into monsters. And then husbands, of course, there's always been infidelity and lying and sneaking around, and now the pornography addiction stuff, and it's just so broken. It's so broken. And out of the brokenness is coming bad advice. The good advice is you need Jesus. You need Jesus. You need to love, humble yourself, communicate, and be willing to live for the other person with confession and forgiveness and grace and love, and accept them for who they are, not their sin. Those are the things you have to work through, but who they are, their personality. Like, you're not going to be able to change your spouse. Like, that's who they are. So accept them, love them, celebrate them, uplift them, encourage them. There's so much marriage stuff on my channel. Check it out. I haven't watched all of it in a long time. Some of it I might word differently today, so have a little grace. But take the good, leave the bad, and be encouraged. But, a lot of bad advice is coming out now. I hear people just don't want to get married at all, which I understand. When you see so much failure, why would you want to embark on that? Some people don't even want families because they see so much brokenness. They just don't want to even embark on that. It's heart-wrenching. people are talking about prenups a lot, which is really hard for me. There's a few cases where I could say, okay, maybe I can see where that's probably a good idea, even though I hate that it has to be that way. I could probably see where, yeah, if you're getting married at, 50 to a man that's built $1 million business, then it's probably right to have a prenup. And I would even say the wife should bring it up. It just feels so like not how it's supposed to be, But it isn't how it's supposed to be. So, especially I would say if that man and that woman have both been married and divorced multiple times. But then the advice is also get married later on purpose. Okay, well, maybe. Like, this is the thing. When people try to make just, this is the way it's supposed to be, it's always wrong, because the same advice is never true for every single person, except the fundamentals, of course. But you can't say get married in your 20s, get married in your 30s. Well, what if you don't meet somebody in your 20s? Well, then obviously you're not going to get married in your 20s. Well, what if you do meet somebody in your 20s? Well, then maybe you are going to get married in your 20s. There aren't these rules of when you're supposed to get married. The thing we should be teaching is, how do you make sure you're marrying the right person? And then once you're married, how do you go through life together in a way that you're setting yourselves up for success? That's what we should be focused on, not when you should or shouldn't get married, because that's impossible. There's statistics that show the earlier you get married, and I don't know about earlier, how early is that? Maybe 22, 23, 24. The earlier you get married, the better chance you have of staying married, because you build everything you have together from nothing to whatever you have. And that's my story. I don't view anything as just mine. Everything is mine and Hector's. We did this. This is ours. So we don't think that way. But we are born in that little window between baby boomers and the millennials. That little 4 to 5 window of extremely hardworking, entrepreneur-minded, gritty generation is how they describe my generation. And I can see it. We are survivors. We don't complain. We work and we mind our own business and do our own thing. We're not worried about who has what and comparing. What does that have to do with anything? We work on our life and us. We want this. We work for it. We save for it. You don't have it? Okay. You do have it? Okay. That has nothing to do with what I'm doing over here. So we're not, I don't know if it's the whole generation that's like that, but man, me and Hector sure are like that. And I've heard the generation described that way as this in-between gap. And so I cannot relate to this is my stuff mentality, or I have to have a plan B. It's no, we're married forever. We said we're getting married. We love each other. We're Christians. Our marriage is founded on Christ. We're going to have ups and downs, and we are together forever. Now what? It's just such a duh to me. So it's after my generation that all of this new wave of thinking has come in, and I've seen it evolve through the years, and it's sad and difficult. Divorce is through the roof. Women are crying abuse constantly. Women are more promiscuous than they've ever been. Men, I used to feel sorry for women not being able to find a good man about 25 years ago. Now I'm wondering how men are going to find a good woman. There is such a hot mess going on. It's devastating to the family, to people, because God's designed us for companionship and fellowship and to be married and share life with someone. Of course, there's the few that are called to singleness, but that's very, very, very rare. So I just pray for the current families raising children that we would see this mess and that we would focus on teaching our children and prepare our children to not fall into this obviously broken, proven to not work well mindset, to pursue the Lord first, whatever the Lord has for you first. And then if marriage is that and family is that, those are good things. It is a good thing to want to be married. It is a good thing to want to have a family. It's a treasure. It's a joy beyond all joys. It gives you such a more profound picture of the love of God for you when you can have a child that you love so much. You realize, wow, this is just a human to another human. I cannot even imagine God to me. Thank you, Lord. And marriage is wonderful, but it takes work and commitment and dedication, and unfortunately there's so much junk out there that people are falling for. They're believing lies, they're distracted, they're not connecting, they have no emotional intimacy, they're lonely in their own marriages, and then bitterness grows. There's so much. We have got to be intentional, teach our children, model healthy marriage for our children, model healthy family for our children. And I can't say that this is impossible without Christ. It is possible, but man, there comes a point where I don't know how far you could go without Christ, because even me as a Christian, there's times where the only thing I have had to hang on to is, but the Lord. So what if I didn't have the Lord and I have nothing to hang on to? Well, that's when the person that has a healthy family, a healthy marriage, could easily give up, call it quits, go find something better. And it's just sad. So I guess one of the best ways to avoid all the lies online is to get offline. Go live your life in the real world, in the material world that surrounds you, right where you are. Bloom where you are. Be where your boots are. All these little sayings that are coming around because people are not present. Look around you, acknowledge your surroundings, take them in, enjoy them, embrace them. Be present, get offline. The swirling lies constantly in your face are unhelpful, to say the very least, and toxic, poisoning, destructive, to say the worst. Be intentional. You can choose how you use your time so that you can have a fulfilled, beautiful, joyful life filled with good relationships, which at the end of your life is all that you're really, really going to look back on and be glad you had. First relationship, the Lord. Second, your husband and children. And I know people love to say your spouse comes before your kids. That's another thing Hector and I were like, why do we have to divide it? Like, I know I'm devoted to my husband to the death, and he knows he's devoted to me to the death. And we love each other to death, and we make time for each other. But we love our kids together. They are our children. Why do we have to say, you come first before the kids? How about, like, we know that already. Let's us, as big boys and big girls, together as the adults, link arms and go get our kids. You know, it's not about, we're first, forget you over there. We have to go do this thing. It's like, I love you. We know that. Yes, good. Let's us together, you know? So I don't know. I'm always a little bit rebellious towards that little thing. Anyway, I think that's what I wanted to share with y'all. I have work to do, so I'm going to get up and get back to it. I hope you enjoyed. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys for always watching. God bless you, and see you next time.